Hi, I'm Jacob Dab. I'm a senior psychology major at the University of Maryland, and I'm here to talk about my experiences as an intern in the obesity behavioral medicine program at Johns Hopkins University. This was an opportunity that came up after having a previous connection with my supervisor, and she directs this program, and we sort of struck up this informal internship consisting of duties that were outside of typical clinical research at Johns Hopkins by Johns Hopkins students. And so these duties primarily involved the creation of multiple resource lists of behavioral interventions for people that suffer from eating disorders, particularly binge eating disorder. And so this involved researching interventions for specific behavior affects that comes with these disorders, things like weight stigma and poor body image. And so the research and interventions that I found came in many different forms. And so in addition to going into things like PubMed and PsycInfo to find academic research articles, clinical trials on these interventions, I also went into apps and podcasts and web articles and books to sort of find more digestible and accessible resources for my patients to look at. And so that's what you see in the blue on the right side of the screen there. That is the resource list I had created for patients, and on the bottom there, that is the sort of more comprehensive list that I created for clinicians. That is the one that includes everything, including academic research articles. And so in addition to this responsibility, I also attended these monthly bariatric support group meetings that were for people that were either awaiting or they had already received bariatric surgery. These were hosted by my supervisor, and so I sort of observed and was a bystander and sort of took notes on how people were on sort of what sort of the values of these people were, and also how sort of a sense of community was being fostered between them. And in addition, I also presented what I had learned and what I had worked on in these bi-weekly meetings for sort of instruction and feedback by my supervisor. And so having sort of created this internship, I came into a lot of this sort of somewhat because it was an online internship that was with a mostly open schedule. And in addition to this, I also had family commitments. I also had another job elsewhere. And so this led to, as you can see with my skills goal in the learning development plan, I was concerned about weight management, and so, especially if other events came up. And so I was also concerned about being an online internship. There was a much greater opportunity for things like distraction to occur. And so I made sure to set aside a certain amount of time for working on the internship by negotiating with both my supervisor and also with my employer. And I made sure that I would isolate myself during this period of time, as it was necessary anyways. And I also made sure that there was time to sort of fall back in case something were to happen that would get in the way of that sort of set time that I had made. And more importantly, on the side of time management, I set an agenda to look at what I need to do for specific hours during each day of my internship. So for a certain number of hours, I would be working on things like finding podcasts, and I would be working next on like researching and editing sort of sources for things like weight stigma. And so also my learning development plan, I also for professional development, I wanted to learn how I could sort of apply my research skills to create products for both professionals in the field and also for patients. And so I feel that I fulfilled this goal mostly because having created multiple lists, I went and sort of reviewed this sort of master list over and over again, making edits as necessary, and sort of looking at how I can sort of create a more accessible, easier to read version, and sort of that would be used for patients, and one that would keep more with the complexity of the original sources for the clinicians involved. And also, I had a knowledge goal of how sort of I can apply these research skills in a clinical setting, and also I had a attitude and values goal that involves sort of how I can learn more about people that suffer from binge eating disorder. And so I kind of attained these goals kind of on top of each other, because as I was learning more through meetings and through research about these people, that also ended up influencing how I sort of worked on these resource lists and sort of how I can find sources that were the most relevant. And lastly, for my personal development goal, I wanted to look at how I can improve sort of the effectiveness and efficiency by which I process, and summarize research. And I feel like I've mostly attained this goal, again, due to this the agendas that I created, creating a more efficient work ethic, and also due to my editing, creating a more effective product. And this was all with the help of feedback on my work through these bi-weekly meetings, where I presented a review of what I had done in the last 2 weeks on my own, and my supervisor would give me feedback based on what I need to do and look at it for the next 2 weeks. And these meetings were a chance for constructive criticism, not only for my own work, but also my work ethic and my style of researching. These aspects are these aspects are sort of what I need to improve on as I came into each, and I made sure I knew that because I came into each meeting with a sort of list of questions that I need to ask to find, sort of make the most effective resource list possible. And we made sure that with these meetings that I made sure that I was doing what I needed to do to get the most out of my internship experience. And I think the feedback that I got really influenced my own personal judgment of my work and how I do my work. And having chosen these duties when negotiating this internship with my supervisor, I found myself really rewarded because I was doing worthwhile work as I wanted to focus wholly on a research project where I could work at a pace that I was comfortable with, and sort of this level of focus, having been undistracted by other academic work that I had done in other research projects. I meant that I was able to improve my work ethic and craft work that I was satisfied with, and that I knew that patients would be satisfied with, and clinicians as well. And I also achieved some sort of self-defined success because I was learning more and more about these people as people, and not sort of abstractly through another classroom setting, basically. And so I feel that with this resource list, these series of resource lists, I created a very valuable convenient reference spot for both clinicians and patients of binge eating disorder. And so that's very important to have sort of this condensed amount of research that may be really threatening to these people, and to have it all in one spot. And I really think it will make an impact. And I also think that this internship has really proved to have really improved my work ethic and my communication skills in regards to reviewing and summarizing research. It has also provided me with sort of valuable experiences about the daily duties of clinical psychologists. And as someone that is looking to go into graduate school, I know that these skills and experiences are something that I know is very important to a successful graduate career, especially if I pursue things like clinical psychology, which after doing this internship, I feel that I really would like to do.